Here's a look at my sit drag. Basically, let's take this stuff off of it. Well, I can't exactly take it off because I have it tied to my little fanny pack. And let me also add, a fanny pack should only be worn by a man when he goes hunting. And it should be worn on his fanny, not his belly. Anyway, this right here, all of this is your basic sit drag. You can get these online. I got this one from eBay. It cost me $38.60. It's basically a continuous loop of this type of material. Comes all the way through. It comes out real fat, just like this. I've taken this and folded it over in thirds. Like, take one side, fold it down halfway, take the other side and fold it up and match it, starting in the middle and working my way down to each end until I got that nice and flat. With electrical tape, the electrical tape cost me 57 cents at Walmart. Again, pretty easy to do. You'll want to do that because you want your carabiners to clip on it easy. And clipping on something big and wide like that with carabiners, you're always fighting it in and out. That'd be the first thing you'd want to do with the sit drag. It's all that comes with the sit drag, which I got this one off of eBay. It cost me $38.60. They used to be much cheaper, but the demand is going up, therefore the price is going up. And my $100 budget didn't include buying nylon webbing. I'm pretty frugal. I've got all kinds of stuff laying around my shop. I never throw this stuff away. It comes with, I mean, you buy products, they got this stuff in it everywhere. I actually think this was bought by my wife at like one of those Amazon return stores. She bought a whole bag of it and it didn't cost, I think, nothing really. I think it was fill your bag for $5, so she thought, hey, he might use that, throw it in there. So I had all kinds of this material already laying here. I did sew all this myself, and I didn't know the first thing about using the sewing machine before I started. My wife owns one and she has some knowledge of how to use it. With her help and a lady of the church, I was able to figure this out on my own in the night. None of the sewing that I did is load bearing. It's just basically to put my dump pouches on and other accessories. And the way I got started is, as you see, there is a fanny pack right there. I already owned this fanny pack. I carried my gear. When I carry my climbing stand, I use the fanny pack because I ain't got to carry a backpack. Now that I film all my hunts, this has just been laying in my way for the last couple years. And I thought, well, that would make a great belt, using the belt that comes along with it, more or less just to hold it around my waist while I'm going to the stand. Now, I'm not going to use a rock climbing harness with this. You might want to use a rock climbing harness, but personally myself, I'm going to try it this way first. I intentionally come in here. The first thing I done is I started trying to figure out how I want this to hang on my butt when I'm in a tree and where it's comfortable. So of course I hooked up the basic sit drag and I got out and played with it. But I wanted that to set in a location while I'm walking. Now it looks saggy. The way I like it is to have it sagging below my butt. It seems to be, if you're not using a rock climbing harness, it's much more safer below your butt, because if you were to slip, it does swing you into the tree and does a pretty good job of holding you. But again, this is all at your own risk. This was not designed to do this. It will support the weight fine. I hadn't seen any issue with anything tearing, but I'll show you what I did first. The first thing I done was I started playing with the sewing machine, and I figured out how to sew me just a basic loop. And here's one of them that I was playing with. I just took some of this webbing that I didn't really intend to use, and I started playing with how to sew a square and an X to give me a good fixed. Once I figured that out, I then had to determine the height of my belt line versus the height that I want the bottom to hang at. And I played with that several different ways. I made several of these belt loops, pinned them to this, put my fanny pack on, wrapped it around me until I got it right where I want it. Once I established that length, and everybody's will be different, there's no right or wrong way to do it, make it to fit your needs. I simply just took my already sewn part and dropped below it, and I sewed it into the material. I did not ever sew into the webbing. The reason why, I'm assuming webbing is no different than metal, and I didn't want to poke 1,000 holes in there and weaken it. So I want to never sew into this original part. So this right here webbing is actually some of the other straps that come with it. I used it because it's the same color and I thought it looked nice. I've done that on both sides. Once I've done that, I took my fanny pack and put it on. Well, the problem was this would sag way too low. So to remedy that for the time being, instead of sewing this to it, I simply poked me 2 holes in it, run my string through each side, tied a knot off where it can't move, and then run it through my strapping that I've got sewn here that holds it centered. And so when I go to put it on, this doesn't get inside of this. That just keeps it where it needs to be. It adds a lot of storage. It's relatively easy to get to. It's right there, just like any fanny pack. You just reach back there, unzip it. You can carry whatever you want in that. I got basically, you could say, $40 in that. The nylon webbing is stuff that I just, like I said before, I'm pretty frugal. I had plenty of this stuff over all the stuff that I've had over the years. You think about the trail camera straps. I mean, 1-inch webbing is basically everywhere, and you can pick it up. You can buy a product full of it for little or nothing if you look for it. But I had this in a bag laying out here in my shop. What I've done is just simply sewed it to the end. I put a pencil in there, in that hole, and then I made my next sew. I moved it every 1.5 inches down through there until I got all the way to the end. I put one on top, I put one on bottom, and then I ordered me some dump pouches. I mean, everybody's seen them. I think these are $9 a piece on Amazon. I got 2 of them. Let's call it 20 bucks. I'm now $60 in to this product, minus the fanny pack that I already had. And they're pretty simple. These dump pouches have these little button things. They just simply slide through there, button onto it, and you're good to go. You now have your basic sit drag ready to start putting the bridge. Now the bridge, you probably recognize this. This is just a tree tether rope. I've got just tons of these things laying around over the years. I simply just cut that fabricated end they had on it with the metal clamp. I cut that off. I had to play with it for a while to get the length that I wanted, so leave it long originally. I still need to burn down that end, obviously, as you can see. But just 2 figure-8 knots. If you don't know how to tie a figure-8 knot, I mean, you're already on YouTube. Put in a figure-8 knot. There's thousands of videos that teach you how to do this. I chose to take my tail end just for safety concern, because I don't trust nothing, and just zip tie that down, so there's no way, once I've got that rope compressed, it's not coming out. I mean, I've been swinging all over the telephone pole out here outside. Is the only good spot I got in my yard to do it. At ground level, I'm sure my neighbors have drove by and thought, what is that man doing to the telephone pole? I don't think I'm gonna have to worry about kids knocking on my door for trick-or-treating. But pretty simple. The length of it's gonna all depend on you. The length of your bridge will determine some amount of your comfort. The shorter you do it, the tighter it squeezes in front of you, the more hip pinch I seem to get with it. This one right here is right at 30 inches. The longer that you go with the bridge, the higher you will have to put your tether rope up in a tree to get where you like. Again, all this is just personal preference. There is no right way, there is no wrong way. You just have to play with it. Again, I'd be willing to bet many of us have this stuff laying around, and you got one you can spare. Go on and cut it. Go on and make your bridge out of it. Sure, I know it's not AM steel, and it's not, you know, not everybody's gonna come knocking on your door going, man, that looks great. I love it. They're not gonna be giving you thumbs up on your picture of it. But you know what? It didn't cost me a dime, because I already spent that dime a long time ago, and it was just laying around in my way. I made a good use for it. Again, you just put your dump pouches on there. Pretty simple. Run them down through your molly loops that you've now sewn. Button it. You've got a spot to store your tether, and I have one for my climbing. Now you say, would you use that rope to climb with a Prusik knot? And you can do it. I have tried it. It works. The problem with that is you're going to always be reaching around the tree with both hands to slide that Prusik. To loosen it, tighten it, it's going to always put you in a bind. Tree tether, you probably, like I said, you already own one you can cut up. You probably still got a good one. Most time, if you buy a set of sticks, they've got a set in them. You can, I mean, they're $20 if you go buy one. I'm sure there's ways you can make your own, but I'm not a rope guy. I don't know what rope to get. I don't care to learn all that. If somebody already makes that part of it and I already own it, I'm going to use it. Same way with my climbing rope. I didn't use a climbing rope because of mentioned I didn't want to spend all this money on a $40 ropeman. Now I see that it would be very handy. I wouldn't say don't buy a ropeman. If you've got the $40 and you want to use a rope, by all means get you one. I didn't want to spend the $40 just to have a ropeman. On the tether portion of it, a ropeman would also be handy. The Prusik, once you load it, you do have to kind of move it a little bit to get it to adjust. But once you got it set where you want, it's a little bit of inconvenience and a little bit of time, but it does work. And like I said, you probably already own it. It won't cost you a penny. Good chance, if you own a hunter safety system, you already own a climbing belt that come with it. And what I found is this is much more convenient than the rope. Without a ropeman, with just using a Prusik, if you get your original hunter safety system climbing belt that has one of these buckles, the reason why is simple. It does offer one-handed adjustability. You want to tighten it, you pull your tag and it's tighter. You want to loosen it, you grab that, pull it, it's tighter. I already owned it. It works just fine. It rolls up nice, fits in the dump pouch nice, and it doesn't knot up like a piece of rope. You cram a piece of rope down in there, it don't ever come out exactly right, unless you spend a lot of time winding it. So it does. You can take this, fold it up on itself, wrap it, and when you pull it out, it falls right back out. No knots, one-handed adjustability, and you probably already own one. Alright guys, your platform's done, your saddle's done. How do I get all this to the field and do it cheaply? Well, you can go buy you a $300 backpack if you so choose. I've got a backpack that I've had for many years. I'm sure they still make similar models. Any backpack with a bow or rifle tote will work. The way I do mine, as you can see, I've got my saddle on. Everything's in place to walk in the woods. And my pack has a bow or gun sling, which I'll take it off and show you. And at the bottom of it has what you drop your cam in, or your butt of your rifle or whatever. I just simply hook the standoff down in it, the first stick, and then I strap the first stick to the pack. Then I stack my heliums on top of those two and run a bungee cord around it twice and hook it to my backpack. Hey, this thing is not too bad when it's on your back. I've got my saddle, which you can't see it from my shirt, but I've got all my saddle gear on, and I'm ready to head to the woods. So again, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I think basically, besides the stuff I already had on hand, I've got about 60 bucks in the whole setup. And I don't know that I'm going to like it yet. I haven't had the opportunity to hunt out of it. I've just played around with it in the yard. I'll probably update on it later. But if you want to do saddle hunting and you too don't want to spend $400, it can be accomplished for a whole lot less than you think. You just have to spend a little time playing with it. The platform, I understand, can be difficult for some. If you have any questions and you're stuck at a spot and you don't have a piece of tooling, if you could explain to me what you do have, I might could figure out a way that you could do it. Again, you could contact me on Facebook at BowhunterKY. Hey, send me a friend request, send me a message, and I will get back to you, I promise. And I'll try to help you out in any way I can. But again, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from it. If you've been neglecting spending the money to try saddle hunting, I mean, $60 ain't bad. I'm willing to spend $60. I was willing to go to $100, and I could upgrade some of my stuff to some better ropes, some much higher, probably better aluminum carabiners, and I probably will at some point if I like it. But I was just trying to do it on a budget. I was trying to see how cheap it actually takes to get in a tree to saddle hunt. You can do it at home with a few basic tools. and you can have fun doing it, playing with it and figuring it out. It's a lot of self-reward when it's done. So again, if you don't know how to sew, more than likely you know a lady or anybody, or you can take it and have it professionally sewn. It can be done. If you know anybody with a sewing machine that knows how to operate it and the most basic principles of it, how to thread it, how to do a basic stitch, as long as you're not sewing any load-bearing stitching and just to hold your dump bags and some of your gear, you're going to be fine. Take it to that person. Hey, buy them dinner. Maybe they do it for free. Send them a thank you card when they're done. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that somebody gives me some ideas about some other projects they'd like to see done, how you could do it at home. If you have an idea, please send it to me. I would like to try to do more of these videos to help people out. And if you found this video a help, I wish you would go hit the subscribe button, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you.